When we talk about healthcare or support work, people often focus on the tasks: personal care, feeding, medication, mobility, paperwork. But here is the truth: great care isn't built on the activities or the things we need to do, it's built on principles. The principles that protect dignity, principles that build trust, principles that turn an ordinary job into a calling. And whether you're new to care or you've been doing it for years, today's conversation will help you to reconnect with why. Why do you do what you do? And to remind you also of the deep sacred value of the work you carry out every single to inspirability. I am Ruby, and welcome to this very unique episode. I still remember one of my early experiences with a support worker who would maybe see that care is quite different than just helping with the mundane things of life. It was a very tough season for me. I was adjusting to life with mobility challenges, trying to regain the sense of independence that I'd lost following a road traffic accident. I've been a care professional myself, but it's always very different when you're on the other side of the field. One morning, my carer came in very quietly, cheerful as always, but quiet. That day, she didn't rush straight into helping me out of bed or preparing breakfast. She just said, "Good morning, Ruby. How are you feeling today? Are you good?" And that stopped me in my track. Yes, literally. Because that morning, I wasn't okay. I'd had a rough night with pains. I'd not been able to sleep all through the night. And she came in a very unique way. She did not rush things. You have people that come in and literally, before they even say proper good morning, they're pulling your sheet off you. They're dragging things around, and you're not even probably awake yet. Or you've been awake for hours. Maybe that's just a few seconds you've been able to doze off since the day before, and they come rushing you, trying to get on to do the things they feel they've come to do for you. That day she acted very uniquely, and I noted it. She stopped, she listened, she slowed down. She treated me like a person, not a list of tasks, a list of things to do. She wasn't there to tick off a to-do list, which obviously it's on the app for carers to do when they visit clients. She wasn't about the list of things on a app that she must complete or else you can't sign out of my house. She was there to treat me the way I needed to be treated that way. That moment, I was reminded of something very profound, something powerful that even myself as a professional had forgotten when I got to the other side of the field. She reminded me that best carers don't just care for your body, they care for your being, they care for you, not your body alone. They care for who you are, your humanness, your being. That's the art of the principle of care. They're not checklists, they are values, ways of seeing and honoring people. That's why these core principles are there to guide us, to remove the mundaneness of the things carers do, support workers do, to get them to be more human, and inhumaneness is removed completely from the service and the support they provide within our communities. Now we're going to walk through some fundamental principles of care, the foundation that every great carer should have if they're going to provide great care service and they're going to embrace great care practices. These are core things that must be there every time they see a client, even if they see that client 4 times a day, 6 times a day. Every time they see the client, these core principles must be at the at the center of every interactions, every engagement with the client. And I want you as support workers, as healthcare assistants, as nurses, people providing care generally, doctors, all of you, I want you to remember this and keep them with you anytime you interact with your patients, with your clients, with your service users. The first one is dignity. Dignity means recognizing every person's worth, regardless of their age, condition, ability, inability, regardless of how they present in the social status, in the social scope of things, recognizing their humanness, their uniqueness, their worthiness, and giving them that opportunity to have a dignified life. It's not just about covering someone with a towel during personal care. It's not just about respecting how you speak to them, how you look at them, not speaking over them, but how you make them feel. For example, imagine helping a client who once was a nurse as well. She's now in her 70s and needs assistance having a bath. You might be one providing the service, providing care, but never forget you're serving someone who once stood in your shoes. She was a nurse as well. She's helped people. So she's always been a professional. So you should treat her with the same respect you would your own family. You would if she was still that nurse working alongside you. So please remember to treat her with as much respect. As a person of faith, I always try to bring the scriptures into things I do. The Bible says in Proverbs 31, verse 8 to 9, that speak up for those who can't speak for themselves, ensure justice for those being crushed. It's actually a very strong passion of mine. I always advocate for people, and I see, sadly, especially because of the rush culture we are in now, because of the little funding for health and social care, that people are always very rushed and they don't think about dignity when services are being provided. A lot of times, dignities are being eroded, completely evaporating from our care system. And we think it's okay. In fact, a lot of people see people that are actually showing helping people to live dignified life as being weird. They look at you strangely. They look at you as if you're wasting time. They look at you as if you don't know what you're doing when you are actually the one that knows what you're doing the most. People are more tolerant of people that are not doing things in a way that depicts dignity than those that are actually doing the right thing. Dignity is about advocacy as much as action. So when you see your colleague not treating a client the way they should be treated, speak out, challenge those. That is also a way of ensuring dignity. And we all have a role to play in that. So please don't let your part be lacking in this journey of making sure we do the right thing and provide the best care possible at all times. The second one is quite similar, respect. Respect goes beyond politeness. It's about understanding and valuing diversity, cultural, spiritual, emotional. Whatever makes the person different does not matter. You still respect them, you value them, and you treat them nicely, the way you want to be treated, and the way you would want your family members to be treated. When you walk into someone's home, you're stepping into their world. You have to adapt to their rhythm, not the other way around. So people expect the client to be the one to adjust to meet them without thinking that no, you're actually stepping into their home, you're stepping into their world. Even if they're in the care home, you're stepping into their room. That is their home. The care home is their home. You visit. So primarily they're the central person. They're the ones that have the say of how things should work in that environment. It's your own job to fit in, not make them conform to you. We need to see this very clearly because a lot of us go there with expectations. Yes, they should treat you with respect as well, and they should make your work environment conducive for you. But you should be the one adapting to meet their needs because you are in their home. You're the one visiting. You don't change their sitting room around to suit you. You don't change their bedroom around to suit you. You don't change their care around to suit you. No. Adapt to meet their needs. It shouldn't be the other way around. And a lot of us have lost sight of this. I'm not sure why the culture is very different now from when I was introduced to care several months ago, decades ago. It was beautiful. And we saw this practice, and it was so quick to be challenged when things were not going the way they should go. There was not the client against the carers. I've had an instance where it was verbally said we should work together as carers, and we should not work with the client. That means a person supporting the client is actually going against their workers. Yes, there are times you go against your co-workers when they're not doing the right thing. The client is not the enemy. So you don't collude together to say evil or do evil to this person, especially because they are vulnerable. And because when two, three, four people are speaking, of course, they will be respected. That's another dichotomy. That's a shameful thing I've experienced currently seeing in health and UK, health and social care in the UK, pardon me, where the professionals feel because they're professionals, they have to be listened to, they are the correct ones, and they will support themselves very readily and would not listen to the client. So a lot of clients are actually undergoing marginalization, unfair treatment, because workers have actually come together to stand together unfalsely, unjustly. But because they are the professionals, they get listened to, and the society shuts the vulnerable people down. It is a sad thing, but it's something I have seen happening very rampantly in health and social care these days. And this is not part of the core of health and social care. There's dignity, there's respect. And I tell you, I've been a professional myself. And if I can experience this attitude, these characters, then you can imagine what the more vulnerable people, and I'm still a young person, I can still advocate for myself, I can still speak. Can imagine people even much more vulnerable than me and that don't have the experience I have at a very senior level. I can imagine what they go through if I have to battle the things I battle. It worries me, and sometimes it does give me sleepless nights because I think if I can't go through this when they know that I can easily challenge, then what are those people that cannot challenge anything? What are they going through? Please, let's remember to respect these people. You're visiting them, adapt to them. It's not the other way around. I once had a support worker who always took a moment to ask, is there anything special about today? And that's so unique. Because yes, it could be a day where I said special prayers, it could be a day where I had hospital visit, it could be a day where I needed extra time, it could be a memorable day for a family member, a birthday, a remembrance, it could be anything. So such a simple, small question shows respect. It shows you're considerate of the person, their values, their culture, their religion. You're respectful of their boundaries, their time. You're respectful of everything about them. And it's beautiful when carers extend such hands of respect and fellowship. In care work, respect is actually what turns routine. When you show that level of respect, It moved the relationship from just routine doing things into a thriving, a collaborative one, a good relationship where it will be easier on the clients and it'll be easier for you as the professional. We need to embrace respect because a service going there and ticking off the list without respect is useless. There's no point going. There's no point attending if you cannot attend to show dignity and respect. There's no point. The third thing is independence. Encouraging independence is one of the most empowering things you can do for someone with disabilities or health conditions. And this is one thing people actually think in the opposite light. They think, oh, I'm there, I'm meant to help them do everything. And it's very easy to do everything. It saves time, it saves energy. Honestly, you finish within 30 minutes, you've moved on. Yes, it's easier. It makes things easy for everybody involved, so to say, except the person you're depriving of their independence. A lot of carers are always in a rush these days. So it makes it easy. But for who? Who is it easy for? It might be easy for you, but it's making life harder. It's making somebody else go through emotional challenges, trauma, and difficulties when their independence, the little bit of independence they have left, is being stripped away on a day-to-day basis by people visiting their home. It's the worst place to be when you can't even feel you have a power in your home, the only place you call yours. If you go to hospital, that place is not yours. You go to social graduates, appointment, those places are not yours. The only place that is yours, strangers will come in and strip you of your dignity, of your respect, of your independence. Then we're making the world feel very unsafe for disabled people. And we are making their mental health suffer a lot if we keep stripping them of these very vital things that everybody needs in life to feel like a human being. Real empowerment means doing things with them, not for them. If the only thing they can do is pick up a cup, allow them that time. If the only thing they can do is brush their hair, allow them to it. If the only thing they can do is say yes, say no, allow them to it. If the only thing they can do is put the flannel in the water, allow them to it. Don't strip them of everything that makes them human beings because you're trying to help them and you're in a rush to do so that you move on to your next person. When I first started using mobility aid, one of my carers would say, take your time, Ruby. You guys don't understand the difference that made. She would say, I'm right here, just take your time. It used to make me feel so in love with her because I have people come and they're literally pulling you, literally. And somebody will step back and allow you to try, even knowing that you might fail. They will still allow you to try. You don't know the value, the worth that person adds to your day, the boost they give to your morale when they do such. Please, we need to carefully consider this. She's so unique that she wouldn't rush to do it all. She would just stand by me as I try. And those were my confident days. I always looked forward to seeing her every day. And the day she said, "Oh, I will not be able to come for the next 2 days. I'm off. I'm in pain and agony." because I'm like, oh gosh, I'm going to have those ones that will come and want to drag me off my faith. And even when they can see that dragging me is not the best thing to do, they turn a blind eye to it. And I dare not say a thing because then they will turn it around and I'll be the accused. And then, of course, your colleague will take their side. So in the long run, your colleague will say they didn't do anything wrong or they gave me all the time. I was just the person grumbling. So you go through all of this. So when you see somebody that even when they see that their colleague is trying to rush me, and I'm telling you because I always have two people come at the same time. When they see that their colleague is trying to rush me, they will find a way of getting their colleague to focus on something else because they want me to take my time and do the thing I can't do. Even if I fail, it's okay by them. Those people are the golden carers, they're the treasures to the care profession, and they're amazing. And we all should strive to be like them, not condemn them, not then collude against them because we feel they're making us stay longer with clients. Those are the people that we should emulate, not speak down or try to get off the care job. I experience a lot of them that want to move very quickly to the next client, rush you along, not caring the effect on you, quick, 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 sharp, sharp, sharp. They want to move on. And interestingly enough, some of them have more jobs than they should ideally have on two different routers. So they are working two shifts almost simultaneously. And the only way that can be done is when they rush people off their feet and move on to the next thing. This is the shame that is currently happening in the care profession. And it's crippling the core principles of what care should be. Independence is not about doing everything alone for the person. It's about enabling the person to do as much as they can safely with dignity and respect. That is independence. I'll repeat, it's not about doing everything for your client. It's more about enabling your clients to do what they can do as much as they can for themselves. You helping them to do this safely with dignity and respect. That is what independence is about. And that's what I encourage us to start imbibing in our practice. Please, we need to. We must do. Then there's the privacy. And this is not just about closing doors or covering the top half or bottom half with a towel during personal care. It's about protecting personal information and personal space as well. There's more to it than just trying to get the door shut. You're not meant to discuss a client situation in front of others or in public or with another client or going to entertain another client with some other client's information and story. And when you're helping with personal care, always communicate what you're about to do before doing it. It is simple, and I worry, it baffles me why people struggle with this. I don't see why you think it's okay to just get the sponge and start sponging somebody without letting them know. It's so shocking for some people. Imagine a person with dementia and you go so close to them and you want to put the brush in their mouth and start brushing their teeth. Of course, that's why a lot of carers get attacked. I'm not saying there's no violence. Yes, there is violence. And it can be perpetrated due to some mental health challenges and due to behavioral challenges. Yes, I acknowledge those. But there are also instances where prior communication will not get you a slap in the face. Let the person know you're approaching them. You're moving into their personal space. It is their personal space. Now there's a stranger that's come into their house. Not only as the stranger come, the stranger just stripped them off their shit. The stranger just pulled off their pajamas. The stranger just dragged them into the bathroom. Now they're in the bathroom. The stranger is now coming so up close with something that looks like a weapon in the stranger's hand. Obviously, the stranger would get a punch or a slap because that's just a natural thing anybody would do. And especially people with like dementia or mental health challenges, they would by default first act in that way. But one word of saying, I'm going to support you with brushing your teeth now, is that okay? Even if the person cannot verbalize their response, you've paused, you've let them see what you're doing, what you're about to do, you've communicated it. So, most likely, the person is mentally ready for you to come close to them because you've alerted them of the fact that you will be doing so. I want us to be very careful, please, in how we approach these things. Because, like I said, a lot of these key things are quickly disappearing. Just a simple, I'm going to adjust your sleeve, or may I help with this, gives the person the sense of control. Makes them feel as if, yes, I'm still the one in charge. And makes them welcome you into their space and allow you the opportunity to help them. Personal space is called personal space for a reason. It is personal. It should be one person in that space, and when you want to come in, you should be invited in or permitted in. You shouldn't force your way in, even if you think you have a right to be in that space. You need to gently approach it. Privacy communicates trust. And without trust, care can become very mechanical. And I must say, sadly, a lot of care has become mechanical in the United Kingdom. And people are not adequately trained. Before, I started off as a carer as well. Before I did my care job, I filled my first client. Oh, I was trained. I knew all of this. I had to go through tests on my understanding of all of this. We had to role play. I had to do all of these crucial things before I was allowed to see my first client. And when I saw my first client, I wasn't left alone with them. I had to shadow. I had to see how it is done. And those times were good times because you got paid for all of those times. So you learned. You learned what caring was before you were left to care. But now, 2 days of making sure you were told the basic things with all the information overload, you're thrown out into the community to provide care when you don't have a clue what you're doing. I think the general concept is if you can brush your teeth yourself, have a bath in your house, then you're okay to care. But no, doing things for yourself is different from doing things, helping someone else, especially a vulnerable person that is going through challenges, health, social, mental, whatever the challenges are that make them to require care. They're already going through this. So caring for them, doing things for them is very different from doing things for anybody else, including yourself or your child. It's very different. Even your mother deserves this level of care if you're looking after her. And now you can imagine what level you need to extend it to when you're doing it for a total stranger. Put yourself in their shoes. Someone came into your world and just took over. Got into your house because they have the key. That's another thing I've seen that shocked me. And it keeps shocking me because they all did it consistently, regardless of how many times you correct it. Because they have the key to your house, they will not knock. They'll just open it and just walk in. had to tell them someday that, do you realize that some of these elderly clients you go to, I know I'm not elderly, I'm young, and people around me are usually quite younger than me or slightly older, but not elderly. But do you realize that some of these elderly people, their child or children or grandchildren might have visited overnight, and when you're coming in the morning, you won't even realize they have visitors, and maybe they're just quickly trying to speak to their grandma, and they're just trying to take a shower, and they're just quickly stepping out. But because you have just come in and just open the door with the keys, because you have the keys, just open the door and barge in. You could barge into the privacy in the most embarrassing way. Have you ever thought of that? The shock is they never ever thought of those things. But even when you give them such examples, I don't think they really comprehend what it is they're doing, because they will still come and open it again. And it's only a few that will then knock after they pop their head through the door. It makes me laugh because that's not the care I knew. Even when you had the key, you had to pause, you had to knock, then you open the door, then before coming in again, you knock, let the person know you're coming in. Then when you open the door, you talk out loud, except somewhere in the care plan it's been said don't talk, don't speak for whatever reason. But if it's not been said, then you talk out loud to alert the person that somebody is coming into their own. And if there's another door, maybe the door to their bedroom, you get there, you don't just barge in, you then knock again and wait for permission to come in before stepping into the space. Unfortunately, unfortunately, a lot of carers don't do this anymore. They don't even know to do it. Let's bring back what care used to be in the UK. And this is one of the reasons for this channel. Let's bring it back. It'll be good too. Compassion is what separates good carers from great ones. Compassion is another key principle. And it makes you see this person is good, but this person is amazing. This person is great. It's the heart, the motive, the attitude behind every task that is being completed, every work done, every activity. Compassion means seeing beyond the surface, recognizing when someone's silence means they're in pain, when their frustration really comes from fear, and when that slap you got on your face is not because they are mean and wicked, it's just because they are having a bad day with their dementia, or possibly an infection with the dementia. It's not because they hate you or they have it in for you. I have met carers who carry deep compassion, amazing people. They remember birthdays, favorite songs, how someone liked their tea. They remember those unique things about each and every one of their clients, and that makes them great carers. Those small acts, they might seem insignificant, but to someone who feels forgotten, who feels dejected, who already feels very low about the way their body is, about the pain they're going through, about their illness, it means a lot to them. In fact, it means everything to them. We need to embrace compassion. We need to also embrace empathy. These are crucial things that will make a difference to the lives of the people we're caring for. These are the things that change lives, that make people look forward to you visiting them to see to their needs. Another thing is communication. Good care, effective care relies on good communication. Not just talking, but listening, attentive to the client. Ask open questions, use eye contact, take time to understand what someone is really saying. And even they might be non-verbal, but it's okay. You can still communicate effectively with them. You just need to find out how they communicate. You need to understand them. You need to get to know them. No, listen to what they are trying to say. Don't make assumptions. Don't jump to conclusions. Listen intently, not just to what they are verbalized. Watch out for their non-verbal clues. Listen. Actively listen. Be observant, and the communication between you and your client will be more effective. For instance, if your client seems irritable, it might not be an attitude, it might be pain, it might be anxiety, it might be loneliness, it might be they've just had the bad news, but they're not willing to share it. Listen with empathy would actually turn tension into trust. Don't forget, communication with families and other professionals matters as well. If the nurse needs to know something, write it down, let the nurse say. If the OT is coming and they need to be aware of this change, let them be aware of it. It helps the client to get holistic service delivery. Don't hoard it, don't keep it to yourself. It's good to effectively communicate and respect yourselves as co-workers. But please, which is one thing I see in my area, the area I reside currently, the professionals feel they have to communicate amongst themselves, but it's okay to keep the client in the dark. It's absurd to me because the client is the one in the receipt of the service and their voice should matter the most. But no, 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 no. I've seen it happen interestingly. Community service delivery, liaising with the social worker, liaising with hospital staff, and they would have all those discussions. And they feel it's okay too. And the client is the only one clueless about every of those discussions. I understand interest meeting discussions. I understand those. And I'm very aware that there are times discussions have to be had, but not discussions about a very capable client with mental capacity to reason things out, make decisions for themselves. And you guys will gather and think and decide what is best for them without involving them in the decision making. I just go to announce it to them. And regardless of what their opinion is, you will say it's been all of you have met, you've discussed it, and that's where the route you're going down. It is appalling. So please let us disease from this and let us put the client at the center of all decision making, whether or not they can verbally communicate. Lack of verbal communication does not deprive them or should not deprive them of their dignity to respect as valued members of the society. We work together when we do it effectively. Share things we need to share amongst ourselves. Engage with the clients as robustly as we should. Then the clients would experience better continuity and be safe within our care society. Accountability and professionalism. Accountability, a lot of people have forgotten all about this. Every carer has a responsibility to uphold standard. Confidentiality, safeguarding, accurate record keeping, honesty, dressing professionally, using PPE. All of those things are things that every care, health and social care worker should comply with. We should be responsible. We should be accountable for our professional conduct at all times. And we should not think it's okay to try to cover up or hide things. Mistakes can happen. We're only humans. But owning up to them, reporting them correctly, and learning from them is what defines true professionalism. Some people will write their record completely contrary to what has happened. Some would come, which is interesting in the community. I've had it written down in my notes before, and I couldn't help laughing. Oh, we helped Ruby with personal care, meal preparation, medication. They listed all of these things, and of all the things they've listed, they did just about two. And it was so funny because they've been writing it for quite a long time, and I don't check their books because there's no need for me to. So I did not even realize one of those very good carers that then came and said, "By the way, Ruby, have you started having breakfast at this time in the morning?" I said, "No. Why do you ask?" "Oh, because it's in your notes that they've been helping you with breakfast for the last, went through it, about 2 weeks now." I'm like, interesting. Nope. Nobody has ever helped me with breakfast. "Oh, really? Oh, okay. They did say this as well. Has that been happening?" Nope. "Oh, okay." So we went through the list and we both had a chuckle because no, it was known that I did not need any of those things. I'm not a breakfast person. So you can't say you've done breakfast for me for 2 weeks because I don't. I just don't. Not as early as 6:30 in the morning or 7. No, I can't eat at those times in the morning. But they've been documenting, they've been doing everything they've not ever done. I'm sure it's so that they'll justify the time they spent or they're meant to spend. Um, and it's worrying that people feel they have to justify to that extent of then adding things that they've not done. People are no longer considering the importance of what they write. That is meant to be a a document that can be tendered legally. They don't see the value. They no longer thought the values of those documents, how accurate, how precise, how honest they ought to be when filling those things out. That is completely forgotten now. We need to go back to those times when what we do is what we write. The time we arrive is correct. The time we leave is correct. Everything is exactly how they've been done. And again, I go back to if they could do such for me, as eloquent, as capable as I am, then I worry about what those vulnerable, older people in the community, I worry about what has been written that has not been done. It worries me. And that's one of the things we want to achieve in this circle, on this channel. How do we get us back to what care should be in the UK? The UK was a beautiful place to provide care. Carers worked with dignity because they were providing valuable substance to people's lives on a day-to-day basis. We need to bring the care back to those days of power, of dignity, of care being one value. Yes, they've never paid them well, which is a shame, but it was still a very valuable, very respected profession because people went out and worked professionally. We've lost a lot of professionalism and we need to bring them back. At the end of the day, care work is about stewardship. You're being entrusted with another person's well-being. That is a sacred work and it should be treated as such. You should value, you should respect it. Value others, respect them. I once spoke with an healthcare assistant who told me something beautiful. She said, "Really, when I go into someone's home, I always remind myself I might be the only human touch they experience today." That sentence stayed with me because care isn't just a profession, it's a ministry, it's a calling, or it should be. It's not about getting the visa or getting the money. It should be about you thinking, I might be the only person that this person will speak to for the next 3 weeks. And the experience they have with me is the only human experience they will have for 3 weeks. And because I don't want them to start thinking less of human beings, I need to behave right when I go into their homes. Every smile, every gentle word, every patient moment, it all matters. It all counts. And whether you realize it or not, you're often the bridge between isolation and hope for somebody. You're probably the only person they will see or speak to for 4 weeks, 5 weeks. And then if you're stripping them of their self-worth, of their confidence, of their independence, of their dignity, of their respect every day, think of the mental battery, emotional trauma they are going through in their own homes. Think of how much isolated they'll be, even in their own homes. They are already isolated, but they've even been more isolated because now they're living as second-class citizens in their own homes. They're living in fear. They're dreading your presence. They're dreading their interactions and encounter with you. Think of such so that you will go there and try your best to be as professional and accountable for every of your actions as you ought to be. And that's why all of these principles are there for care. They are not optional. They are not, you might choose this or not choose this. No. They are foundations of trust, of dignity, of transformation, of helping people to live in our society and still be human beings, just like you want to be. So we're not saying pick one of them or pick 5 of the principles and work with those, then you're fine. All of those principles, and I've not listed everything today because I just wanted to touch base. We will go through in more details, and I have a course running actually on the principles of care that I will share with us subsequently. But it is vital that we all go through all of this one by one. I will embody these principles. Don't choose the one that suits you for the day. Every time you interact with a client, a service user, a patient, you interact on the backbone of these principles. They should be embedded in every of our practice, every of our interactions, every of our discussions. Even when it's telephone counseling, even when it's telephone appointments, even is when as a receptionist, the GP practice, you're trying to get the person to attend an appointment, or even if it's just for a flu jab. Let us keep these principles to heart because it will make a difference in the life of people that are vulnerable. Oh, I can go on. I have had encounters, experiences, and I'm sure we'll get to share some of those with you. And I want to hear your own as well. It'll be interesting because I'm sure I'm not the only one that I've gone through, and I've heard from so many other people. I'll also share the experiences on this channel like I've shared today. Because it's important to remember that every carer, nurse, support worker, doctor, dentist, whoever, or that student in training, you're valuable. You do an amazing job, a unique job. You're priceless. And I, as one of the people in receipt of care, would like to say thank you. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for being present. Thank you for caring and carrying things with compassion, with empathy. Thank you for turning up when it's desperately needed. Thank you for choosing the care job as a profession. Thank you for making those sacrifices of waking up so early and going to bed so late so that the vulnerable people in the community can be looked after. We respect you. We value you so much. And when you embed these core principles of care, especially to those of you who do already, we treasure you. You are our heroes and we love you. Thank you for everything you do. Please remember that these principles are not just policies, they are people. They are vital, they are important, and they can make the difference any day. Every interaction is a chance to restore someone's confidence, dignity, respect, joy, trust in humans. Don't lose that chance, please. If this message has taught you something, reminded you of something, encouraged you, please share it with a colleague, a friend in care. Subscribe for more inspirability insights and training content. We'll be going full blown. Like I said, I have some training package with very practical things, hearing from the horse's mouth on a lot of things, and sharing life examples. I have experienced that. I've seen several people experience both in the community, in hospitals, and I have been there as a student on a few occasions, several occasions actually, different capacity, different student capacities. I've been there as a professional in different professional capacities, and I'm also there currently as a client. So I have seen different spectrums, different phases of care. And I do want to be part of building a culture of care that heals the body, the mind, and the soul, heals the complete person. And we can do this together. We can do it together. Remember, it is Ruby, and this is Inspirability, where we always strive to stay uniquely us. I'm uniquely me, you are uniquely you. Let us keep striving to make the world a better place, the care society, the care world, a better place for everybody. Thank you, and see you in the next episode. Bye for now. Bye.